仮説じゃなくて本当のことよ。
How did that slip past the editors? This is Ashley with WatchMojo, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 mistakes that were actually kept in anime. For this list, we're going to be looking at the noticeable mistakes in anime that somehow made it to screens. Even if it's just for a single frame, these errors are still very apparent for those with sharp enough eyes. As always, you can catch me on Twitter at AshJBo, so head over there, give me a follow, and let me know which anime list you want to see next. Number 10. Shanks is fine. One Piece.
噂のスーパールーキーが俺に挨拶
Remember when the captain of the Red-Haired Pirates sacrificed his arm to save Luffy from a sea monster? An act of bravery that was so powerful that it would go on to define Luffy's character? Yeah, turns out he got over it. During the flashback segment where Ace and Shanks are celebrating, there's a shot where you can clearly see Shanks with both arms just lounging about with his crew.
そうかあいつ今も海賊王になるって言ってるのか
Either he's got a prosthetic we don't know about, or an animator was feeling awfully generous that day. Number 9. Bakura becomes Joey. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters.
まさか。
いいから俺に任せとけって
We all know that Bakura can do all manner of creepy tricks with that Millennium Ring, including letting loose his demonic ancient Egyptian alter ego, just in case an episode is lacking in shadow games. Apparently, he's also learned how to become another person entirely, since during the scene where he, Taya, and Tristan are climbing across a tower, his character model clearly changes to that of Joey Wheeler, evident from the iconic green jacket you can see even from a distance. Maybe activated his inner Brooklynite without realizing it.
なんで
Number 8. Blue to Green. Pokemon. While the show may have wanted us to care about May and Max's sibling relationship via this dramatic flashback sequence, we really couldn't care less.
Team Rocket!
Not that the episode did a particularly awful job in illustrating their bond or anything, it's just that we were too preoccupied with noticing how May was one step away from turning into a Super Saiyan, given how her eyes had inexplicably switched from blue to a rather intense shade of green.
Come on, don't be silly. The only thing I care about is that you get better.
You can't expect us to worry about the two repairing their kinship when we could be moments away from seeing her transform.
May, cool it.
Number 7. Disappearing Whiskers. Naruto series.
今日は特別な日だからな。いただきます。
The blonde ninja has had this problem on and off all across the franchise, and while it's a rather minute detail, when the screen is being filled with high-speed jutsu, seeing his signature whiskers disappear during close-ups can be a tad distracting. If it's at a distance, it's easy to miss, but if it's during a monologue in the aftermath of the series' greatest fight, then it becomes very noticeable. Maybe the sight of a whiskerless Naruto was what pushed Sasuke back over to being a good guy in the end.
その唯一が俺だからよ
Number 6. Digifuse Digimon Digital Monsters. The original Digimon anime may not have had the biggest budget around, but for the most part it was pretty solid in terms of animation. One thing that we can't look past, however, is the scene where the Digidestin gets swallowed up by Waymon. It's an awesome sequence that you probably still fondly remember to this day, only there's that one part where Agumon is inexplicably pink. Upon closer inspection, the team seems to have mixed up Agumon's colour palette for Biomons, but how that joggerous happened is anyone's guess.
Sorry about that. I must have had a tummy ache or something.
Number 5. Pika Double Pokemon.
What's going on here?
The world of Pocket Monsters is obviously teeming with life, enough that it's not too much of a stretch to imagine that two Pikachus could show up in the same city at the same time. However, we don't think that was the case when two of the iconic electric mice ended up clinging to Ash in the same shot. Maybe he was practicing using Double Team to appear in two places at once. Or perhaps a Ditto showed up randomly. Or the animators forgot that there's only meant to be one Pika-Pal on this show.
I'll sort it out if it's the last thing I do!
Number 4. Six Fingers EO. Grand Blue Fantasy the Animation.
太閤さんはイオちゃんとずっと一緒だったんですか?
Maybe this issue only affects users of a more mystical disposition. Either that or EO is really falling behind when it comes to her magic healing. And coincidentally might have made a terrible mistake in between frames, since we can see Six Fingers clearly on display here.
そうか、今日はお前が来る日じゃったか。出てきて。
We know she's on the short and flimsy side, but that doesn't mean she needs an additional ligament to help her work that staff of hers. Who knew this was a rampant problem plaguing the industry?
これでみんなを笑顔にするんじゃって。
Number 3. Texture Tearing. Musashi Gundo. Honestly, you can point to any scene in this abysmal series and find something wrong with it. And we're not talking about the lackluster story or awful sound mixing.
たくあんは留守だと申したはず。
あんたが和尚だってことはもうバレてんだよ。
Whether it's the stiff character models fighting like ragdolls, the background looking like they were copied from Google Images, or how everyone appears cropped into frame, this whole thing is just a failure of an anime on a technical level.
向こうから勝手に乗り込んできたんだからさ。
How can you make dual-wielding guns against a demon look so crappy?
いかにも。
Number 2. Zoro has a twin? One Piece.
Behind you!
We can't imagine what kind of toll it must take for Toei animators to crank out an episode of One Piece every week, so it was only a matter of time before some manner of mistake slipped through the cracks. That being said, the last thing we expected to see was two Zoros in the same shot, one attacking the foxy pirates, while the other just stood back and chilled with the rest of the crew.
You're Split-Head sister, aren't you?
It's not like we haven't seen the Straw Hat Swordsman create additional limbs before, but this is a whole other kind of deal. Maybe he accidentally activated his haki or something.
Please, by all means, don't let me stop you.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Black Tristan, Yu-Gi-Oh!
ただいまよりトーナメント3回戦の対戦者を抽選いたします。
Oh dear, this is unfortunate. Doubly so when you realize that for all the cropping, cutting, and editing that 4Kids did back in the day, this still made it in. We're all for representation, and while his normal appearance is that of a rather tanned individual, the animators in this scene clearly made the error of turning Tristan Taylor much darker skinned.
名前など大した問題ではない。
Not even the 3 Egyptian gods could take on the might of HR if people caught wind Yu-Gi-Oh! Had gone and done something like this. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.